Gamera the Giant Monster is a by-the-books kaiju film, for better and for worse. Released in 1965, the film revolves around the discovery of Gamera and the journey of our cast to better understand the creature and their latter effort to defeat him. Gamera isn't trying to revolutionize the kaiju genre. Instead, it happily embraces the tropes of the time, creating nothing more than a breezy popcorn flick. The film knows you are here for one thing, and that, of course, is the big turtle himself. Gamera is in this film quite a bit, with his screen time being used effectively. From his initial entrance as he breaks through the Arctic ice, to his latter destructive rampage in Tokyo, Gamera waddles his way through varying locale and set pieces. The effects and costume work for the most part are done well. The material they give Gamera allows him to show off his abilities and what he is capable of. It's nothing groundbreaking, but what's shown is solid. The camera work is done well, with some nice low angles and perspective shots that give Gamera the giant presence you'd expect. Of course, Gamera isn't the only character in the film, as we have a human cast that we are following through this adventure. Unfortunately, these characters don't give you much to chew on, or really to grasp to. They're exactly what their job titles are: professor, the assistant, the news reporter, etc., and they act accordingly. This isn't anything new for this genre, but even with the smaller character beats we get, I feel this is a lot more noticeable than usual. Especially when the character you have the most to say about is done horribly, this being directed at Toshio. Nothing against the actor, he does a perfectly fine job. This is just all down to the writing. I think his affection for Gamera is handled horribly. The film tries to get you to sympathize with him early on, with everyone viewing his love for turtles as odd, and the release of his pet turtle he found in the wild making him feel alone. But after a freak incident where Gamera saves him, he becomes infatuated with the big lug. People being bonded to kaiju isn't a new idea, and it can be done well. The only issue here is that he constantly puts himself and others into horrible situations because of his bond with Gamera. You could say this is due to him being a kid, but I would say that even a kid would be smart enough to know not to go onto a moving train that is headed towards a giant turtle's mouth who is actively eating the fire of the exploding oilers. I think if they tried to play his role similar to Ichiro's from All Monsters Attack, where he's constantly without his parents and is left to his imagination, which then causes him to do things a kid may not normally do, this would have worked a bit better. These scenes with Toshio snag the otherwise slick pacing of this film. Past that, the film is pretty beat for beat with what you'd expect from a film like this. I'm sure if you're going into this, you're not expecting the next Godfather, and if you look at this critically, you'll more than likely be annoyed. But if you turn your brain off for the hour and 25-minute runtime, you may be in for a treat. There's better examples of it, even within this franchise, but there's nothing wrong with an inoffensive kaiju destruction flick. And it's fun to see where Gamera got his start. I give Gamera the Giant Monster a 6 out of 10.